right, welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Dollar Bin Digging. This is the video and article that I do for comicbookinvest.com, where I talk about those cheap books that you can find in those dollar bins, those bargain bins, those boxes you find at the flea market, yard sales, at your LCS, just that cheap stuff that you should be hunting for. Now, the last couple of weeks, I did some stuff around final issues, and I did that in lieu of this planned topic, which was magazines. I wanted to do this a couple of weeks ago and I kind of pushed it off, so now I'm hitting it up. We're going to be talking about magazines this week because that's still stuff you can find for really cheap at your LCS. It's just forgotten, ignored kind of stuff that's just thrown in like a milk crate, like underneath a table at the LCS. Just a bunch of Eries, Savage Conans, and a bunch of extra nonsense that nobody really cares about. Also stuff you can find out at flea markets, used bookstores, yard sales, things that people just basically want to recycle or throw away, like magazines for the most part. I mean, people know to collect certain magazines, but some of this stuff gets ignored. So that's what I want to talk about this week. Hopefully you like that and you like the content. If you do, let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling friends to keep subscribing to the channel. Want to keep growing this thing more and more as we move on and start giving away some more books as we hit new milestones. So if you're down to check this out, hold on for a couple of seconds after the intro, and I got some magazines I want to tell you to keep an eye out for. Now, as I teased in the open, we're going to be looking at magazines this week for our Dollar Bin Digging picks. Now, there's a bunch of different magazine types that we can go into, from epics and some gaming stuff to all kinds of things. But specifically this week, I'm going to kind of hover in around the idea of covering books related to Wizard. Everybody knows Wizard. A lot of people even like to call comicbookinvest.com today's Wizard. I kind of like that idea because I love Wizard and I write for comicbookinvest.com, so I'm fine with that comparison personally. But that being said, these old Wizard magazines are a heck of a lot of fun to flip through if you can find them. Yes, again, in those dollar bins. They're mixed in with the comics. They're just there buried away with everything else. And most of them aren't really worth much, and most of them are beat up. The coupons are torn out. The posters inside are ripped out. The cards that might have been polybagged with them are missing in a lot of cases. But still, sometimes you can find these things sealed and in great shape, and sometimes you find them not. And like I said, regardless of value, I think there's a lot of value in just picking them up, flipping through, saying, you know what, let's look at the Wizard Hot 10 from 1996 because it's a lot of fun. I did a whole article series on comicbookinvest.com on this very topic because I liked it so much, doing the Wizard rewinds. I went back, for Wizards over the years and rehashed and revisited their top 10s and looked at the pieces inside and just kind of recapped the issue and gave it a modern update and take on where those things kind of stand today. It was kind of fun. I wish I still had that kind of time to do it again. Maybe I will do something like that again. I don't know. Maybe I can turn it into a video. We'll see. Let me know if you're interested in something like that and I could start working on something. Just let me know in the comments. But that being said, if we're going to talk Wizard, I mean, we got to get it out of the way. I mean, nobody's going to say this is cheap and this is something you're going to find out there, but we got to mention it. It has to be noted. Wizard number one. Like you gotta mention it. So we got to look at it at least here. Whether you're going to find this for $1, I'm not saying you are. I just got to talk about it because it is the first issue. It's Todd McFarlane cover. It's iconic. A lot of people know it. There's a San Diego version of this as well as a newsstand version. It has a barcode right there on the front as well. But just keep this in mind. Now, this thing, like I said, everybody knows it. A lot of people have nostalgia for it. People want it because it's a number one. And this thing could sell. Look, one just sold September 4th for $50. $50 for just this Wizard number one. Random magazine. And if you want to go out there shopping, well, prices are even more than that right now. Look, $65 to $130 it'll run you if you're looking at those raw copies. And there's even a graded one, a 9.4, looking at for $1,800. So Wizard number one is not easy to find. So like I said, I'm not saying you're going to find this one in the dollar bins, but hey, you should just be aware of it. And I just wanted to talk about it just for a few seconds. But some of the issues, like throughout, again, like I said, this thing ran for 230 some odd issues. I forget. But there's plenty of issues along the way that are worth kind of grabbing outside of the rest. Whether it just be for the cover art alone, some of the things that pop up on the inside that you should just be aware of. And one of the cover art ones that I think you should just keep an eye out for is one of my favorites. I talk about him all the time, Adam Hughes. So this issue 94 of Wizard has a pretty cool Adam Hughes cover. You got Lady Death, you got Vampirella, you got Witchblade. It's the bad girls in the 90s, drawn by Adam Hughes on this cover of Wizard. Awesome stuff to me. And this is one you should keep an eye out for. For this, I'm just going to kind of throw out a sold price just to give you a ballpark idea. And the sold price on this is $17. Look, that's still polybag too that you could get for this thing. But you might find this, again, flip it through a long box because Wizards get mixed in with like those Hero Illustrateds and those other weird, price guides and, preview mags and things like that. Just get thrown in boxes with dollar books because a lot of people just don't care. So other people's trash could be your treasure. And another cover artist, apart from looking for Q's covers, pretty much I would say if a cover looks good to you, other people probably want it as well. So just keep that in mind when you're flipping through. If you flip through, it's like, oh my God, look at this. It's a J. Scott Campbell cover. Maybe I should buy this. Well, maybe you should, because if you do, you'll probably find something that somebody else also wants because they might be a collector of that artist. So you might look at something and be flipping through the box, and you might be like, oh, look at this. This is issue number 165 of Wizard. Yeah, like I said, this goes longer than the run. This is when it actually became more magazine-sized, where the earlier part of the run, they were comic book size, but thicker. These are a little thinner, but got a little bit magazine size. So you got to keep that in mind as well when you're flipping. So these might not be with comics. These might be thrown in with magazines. So if you want to see what a J. Scott Campbell book like this 165 might sell for, well, this one, somebody bought one for $35. I'm just saying, some of these things can sell pretty well in the aftermarket. So this issue of Wizard, number 131, does feature the first Captain America, Isaiah Bradley. That Truth book got pretty hot out there, but here he was previewed in Wizard before that book was released, so a lot of people like looking for things like that, and he's right there on the cover, and that adds an added layer. There's another cover as well where he's not on the cover. This is cover 2 out of 3. Wizard, they love the variant game as well, so they had multiple covers too. But this cover is one that is pretty cool too if you're looking for those like Isaiah Bradley books still. If you want to see how much this thing has been selling for, and it's actually been selling pretty well lately. Best offer on $50 just a couple of days ago, October 6th. So it's still selling. And if you want to go shopping and seeing what's out there right now, you're looking at $50 to like $67 asking prices on this thing right here. Again, Wizards. You might be able to find these really cheap, buried in a box. Plenty of things along the way that we cover. I'm not going to do too many more of those Wizards. In fact, I'm only going to do one more of Wizard before moving on to the next little topic I have for you. And the next one is the last one. March 2011, Wizard 235. That's where it ended. 235. So Green Lantern not only ended a lot of DC's momentum in the movie universe, it also ended Wizard. Sorry, Ryan Reynolds. You brought it all down. But this one is actually used to sell for quite a bit. This used to be like a $50 book if you could find the last one. But prices have actually come down, apparently. When I just recently looked, I found a sold price, $10. Somebody bought one for $10 back in June 30th. It's crazy. Crazy to me. One, that it still went back to June 30th, but it's only $10. That one's probably going to drop off soon, and then there will be nothing. Because if you want to go shopping for one of these right now, there's none up. None up. Wizards print run started to go down near the end, which is why this was a pricey book at one time, because it wasn't that easy to find. Because just like most things that end, last issues, kind of tying in with the last couple of weeks of Dollar Bin, last issues are things to keep an eye out for. And this is the last issue of Wizard, and it should be one you should be mindful of. Again, it's magazine size, so it's on the bigger end. Not going to be found in the comic box, but we're talking about magazines. This is where you should find it, in those like milk crates and thrown on a table there at some yard sale. I don't know. Keep an eye out for it. You never know. Because even though that one sold for $10, this has sold for more in the past. Like I said, this used to be like a $30 to $50 thing if you could find it. And kind of related to Wizard, just to kind of keep you mindful while you're flipping through magazines, there's other things. I don't want you just digging through magazines and you're only looking at just Wizards. But we're going to talk a little bit about Toyfare, which is Wizards imprint that covered toys. Issue 1, Star Wars cover, obviously, had to go with Star Wars to start it all off. This thing's not that expensive. If you look, $15.50, somebody bought a lot of a few that had issue 1 in there. it's pretty cheap. You can still score some even online in these kind of lots and whatnot. But when you look at what's available, what people start asking for, well, prices can vary. Prices can vary depending on who you're looking at. I mean, some people are asking $20, other people are asking $110 for this same magazine. Just be mindful of that. I'm just saying, if you find one for $1 or $2 or something like that, just keep that in mind that maybe you could sell it, maybe not. Or if you just wanted to flip through it and read, it's fun as well. Because again, toys to me are just as fun as going back through comics as well for nostalgia. Especially with the Toyfare, where they used to do, and Wizard used to have it as well before they spun off Toyfare and their own thing. They used to do the the theater where they had to like the Migos, and they used to have the characters kind of play things out, little fun little comic strips, which becomes important in the sense that we're going to move on with a subset of Toyfare, and this was the Twisted Toyfare Theater, which is where they did that, where they basically took the toys and they put them in little stories like comics and just had a little bit of fun. Funny stuff. They did a few volumes of this, and you can see this is volume 10 of Twisted Toyfare Theater and Collector's Edition. You might think it's nothing. All right, there's a Halo character and Optimus. Who cares? You see this in a magazine pile. What do you care? Well, you should care, because this thing sold for $100 back in August. That's why you should care. Because other people care. People are looking for this because these things aren't that easy to find, and people kind of like it. And you want to see what's available? If you're looking for this issue too, well, there's one up for $75. So that's why I want to talk about some of these magazines, because a lot of people don't care about magazines and don't look into them. There's plenty that have value and are worth noting if you find yourself in front of a box of magazines. Just have some sense of what you're kind of looking at. And this wasn't the last issue. I know what you're probably thinking. Oh, well, it's probably the final issue, end of the run. It is near the end of the run, but not the last issue. The next issue is actually the last issue, and that's issue number 11. We got a He-Man Harry Potter thing here. This is the final issue of this Twisted Toyfare Theater subset, but I can't get you a price on it. If you find it, buy it, because there's none sold, there's none available. This is a ghost magazine. I could put this in Chasing Ghosts, because you just can't find this one. This is the last one for the Twisted Toyfare Theater. So if you see this one, I'd recommend picking it up, because you could probably make yourself a few bucks, or you just found yourself a nice little treasure that's not easy for a lot of other people to find. And then I got one final thing to kind of mention related to Wizard, as far as we're talking about the magazines, and you might even hit books. And that's kind of where I'm stretching what we're doing a little bit. I had it sitting here next to me because I did find one for, I think, $2 or $3 out at the flea market a while back. And this is the How to Draw the magazine. This is the book. It's like a soft trade paperback from Wizard. It kind of collects all those little basic training features inside the Wizard magazine, where the artist would teach you how to draw. It's pretty cool. So if you're interested in comic art, and I have been since a kid, so this always interested me, it is pretty cool to have all this stuff kind of collected. There were some free comic book day versions too, where they're like a little thinner, smaller versions that were sold that are also worth picking up. But this is a big, like I said, not hardcover. It's a soft cover volume, trade paperback. It's got a $30 price tag on it. But if you can find this in a used bookstore or something like that, just to keep an eye out for it, because it's not too bad to have. Not to mention, you also might be able to make a couple of bucks on it, because you can see one, October 1st, best offer on $62. So I don't have the actual sale price on that one, but $62 ask, they accepted a best offer. And if you look at what's actually the asking prices right now, they're $85 to $125 for this book. So it's definitely not cheap. So if you can find one, you've done well for yourself, and it's just something to keep an eye out for. Because again, this is just that weird, odd stuff that a lot of people may not be aware of. And if you are, I mean, I'm not trying to tell what everybody knows. I don't know what everybody knows. So I'm just trying to share the information I have, and you do with it what you please. And hopefully you find it interesting. After 161 other episodes of Dollar Bin Digging, writing this article for a couple of years now, I'm trying to think of different avenues, different things to kind of tell you guys to keep an eye out for cheap. So hopefully you don't mind that, and hopefully you still enjoy this. Let me know in the comments, and let me know what you think. Also, make sure you check it out over on comicbookinvest.com. Comment there as well. But that's what I got for you this week. Hopefully you liked it. Let me know. Please like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Thanks for stopping by and checking in. And I will see you guys soon with some more books and some more content.